Today we're looking at the collaboration between Esterbrook and Ferris Wheel Press with the Nebulous Plume Pen. This pen is a modification of the Esterbrook Estie with some additional Ferris Wheel Press magic sprinkled in, and it also includes a small bottle of Ferris Wheel Press ink that is, I believe, unique to this collaboration. I really appreciate the effort that Ferris Wheel Press puts into all the packaging and all the extras that it includes. It's very pretty, but you do end up paying a premium for it. The price for this collaboration is $395 for the pen and the ink, and it's a stainless steel nib. It has a gold coating, but it's still, you're paying just under $400 for a stainless steel nib. I really like the SD line of pens, and I really like Ferris Wheel Press, so it's kind of worth it to me, but it is right on the edge of being worthwhile. But they really went all out with the packaging this time. Not only do you have the foil box, you also have this faux leather container with embossing, gold leaf. Like they really pulled out all the stops this time for this collaboration. Inside, you'll see the small bottle of ink and the pen itself, along with a small registration card and some text to the side. The ink comes in the standard Ferris Wheel Press tiny bottle. That's both a pro and a con, as you'll see later when I attempt to fill this pen. And it's always a good idea to check the packaging, make sure that there's no little goodies hidden behind there. I didn't expect an ink cartridge or anything, but it's worth checking. Now we take a look at the pen body itself, and I think Nebula is a very good name for this. I don't know if they started with the resin and went for the Nebula, or if they got the pen blanks in and chose the name Nebula looking at it, but it's very appropriate. It's a dark base with a lot of bright, vibrant colors, very pure primaries in there. I really like it. And this particular pen, like the one that I have, I like the way that the colors meld together. Any of these pens, like it varies. Like your pen might look, well, your pen will look different from mine. And sometimes you get a real winner. Sometimes you get a stinker, though hopefully they don't ship stinkers. In this case, I'm really, really pleased with the way this exact pen came out. Now I'll compare this Estie to some other pens. First up is another Estie in the same size. This is the Maui. The Nebula is slightly heavier, but nothing excessive. This is the SD Oversized in sea glass. And the Novelure Nautilus in the 2023 Pride Special Edition. I picked this just because it's another colorful rainbowish resin, though this one is much lighter than the Nebula. The closest resin I have is this Puma Minimalista in Primary Manipulation 4. If this camera focuses, you can see that it's not super dissimilar to the Nebula, but it's not as Nebula looking, if that makes sense. It's, more orange and purples, but also in the same basic family. Now we'll take a look at the ink itself. I'm going to do one of my swatches for my permanent storage. If you saw my recent, I think yesterday, Chuakuro video, the very dark black ink, I do some calligraphy, I do a swab, and then I keep it aside so I can compare it later. We're going to do that again with this ink here. This ink is well behaved. There's nothing crazy about the way that it flows or pools or anything like that. It feels like a perfectly fine ink, so it should work in just about any pen that you have available. Of course, it's a limited edition, so you're probably never going to see this ink outside of this collaboration, but if you do get your hands on it, it'll work fine in your pen, probably. Now I'm going to try to fill this pen with the ink that came with it, and we'll quickly find the problem with Ferris wheel press inks, specifically their bottles, is that they're, really nice looking aesthetically. They're great, but they're not entirely practical. I can't get this pen in there to fill it. I end up having to just use the converter, like fill the converter and then push everything through the nib and then refill the converter. I get it. I get what they're trying to do, but I just wish their bottles were a little more practical than what they end up delivering. Now we'll do a writing sample with this ink in this pen. Don't judge my handwriting too harshly, either here or in the calligraphy section. With the way I've got the camera set up, I'm essentially writing with my arms fully extended, like 2 or 3 feet in front of me. It's actually really hard to do this and have the camera see what I'm doing. As expected, the ink behaved well in this writing sample, and there's a little bit of shimmer in it. Not a whole lot compared to some of the other inks that I have above, including some Ferris wheel press, but there's a little bit. I think it's tricky because it looks as though there's blue and gold sheen, so the blue sheen gets lost with the base color of the ink. Now I've switched lenses and we're going to take closer looks at everything we've done before. Here's the body of the pen. And here's a closer look at the custom engraving that they put on the stainless steel gold-plated nib. Now we'll switch to the microscope and take a close look at the swatch and the writing sample. Up here close, you can definitely see the gold shimmer in the ink. There also seems to be a little bit of what in watercolor would be called granulation. This blue field isn't entirely stable. There's a little bit of lightness and darkness, just some variation, like a nebula in the ink. And then here's the writing sample from the pen itself. I didn't originally think I would be releasing 2 videos in 2 days. I usually take about a month between videos, and my next video is pretty long. It's about beginner pens and gifting pens, but here you go, a quick bonus. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.